Okay, so here we are, my friends, my brothers, with my sisters, of part 2 of my issues with Endgame. So, as you can see, I've titled this video The Captain Marvel Problem. Yes, we have a huge problem with Captain Marvel. I'm talking about a colossal, gigantic problem with Captain Marvel. You guys might think, some people might come out and say, hey, you're sexist, you just don't want to see a strong, independent woman that don't need no man. No, it's not that. Okay, no. If you honestly think I have an issue with Captain Marvel because she is the strong woman, then honestly, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I have no issue with Captain Marvel being a strong woman. I have no issue with Captain Marvel being a woman. As it turns out, I actually like women quite a bit. So, that's not my issue. My issue with Captain Marvel, let me start off, number one, with her in Avengers Endgame, is the fact that, bro, where the fuck was Captain Marvel in Avengers Endgame? Where was she in this movie? Captain Marvel appears randomly at the beginning to save Tony Stark. Okay, fair. And then she's there when they confront the Thanos of their timeline. Okay. And then, bro, where did she go? Bro, where's Captain Marvel? On the other side of the universe. Literally being a one-woman Green Lantern's Corps for all these different planets. Like anybody asked her to do that. Why? Why would you, like Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, seriously, why would you create an entire Captain Marvel film and then add Captain Marvel to Avengers Endgame for her to literally be in the movie for legitimately about, if I highball it, she's in the movie for less than 10 minutes, legit. And if I'm gonna be accurate, her collective screen time is probably like legitimately about 6 minutes. And I still think that's a highball. I still think that if you literally grabbed every scene Captain Marvel was in Avengers Endgame, it would probably be less than 6 minutes. Why the fuck would you create an entire film for Captain Marvel for her to not be an important part in this movie? Why? Makes no sense to me. This seemed to me the perfect opportunity to express this character, to show what this character's thoughts, to have her interact with the people who have been on Earth for the last 20 or so years. This would have been a perfect opportunity for her, her personality to be fleshed out with people who are her equals. And I'm putting it in quotation marks for a reason. People who are equals, or people who are heroes, people who, sacrifice themselves and save other individuals. Perfect time to see their philosophies, for her to express how she feels and have them be an effect on her. I'm not saying she had to be like the main character, but she definitely should have had legitimately 45 minutes of screen time. Easy. 45 minutes of screen time, easy. Now, and even with the plot, what I was about to say was that maybe it'd be hard to put Captain Marvel in this film because the plot itself demands that the Avengers go back in time to points that they are aware of. But then I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. We can put Captain Marvel back in time to different points the Avengers went through so she can see what she missed, and it can have an effect on her. One of the biggest issues with Captain Marvel as a character is the fact that she's very established in who she is. We, as an audience, have not experienced what she has. What I mean by that is, Brie Larson's acting, she acts very, very confident and very, very sure of herself. No problem there. There is no issue with Captain Marvel being a confident woman. There's no issue with her being sure of herself at all. The issue comes in the fact that we don't know why she's so fucking confident. Like, she knows something we don't know. Okay? Like, she knows that she's the strongest and most powerful Avenger there. But honestly, I mean, like, should she? Should she know that? Now, here's the thing. Captain Marvel is still only human, right? She might be a human with all of the quantum energies of a nuclear or maybe supernova or explode. I don't know. Maybe she might be a metahuman. No, that's DC. A mutant? No. I mean, it's Marvel, but mutants are genetic. I don't know, whatever. She's an enhanced human, okay? It doesn't really matter how powerful Captain Marvel is. She's still a human insofar as she does not have omniscient thoughts, or that she's not all-knowing. Which means her believing that she's the most powerful creature in existence is just seriously just straight her arrogance. She's just being an arrogant person. And here's the thing. That as a character trait is actually not a problem, if she's still challenged by the plot. So Captain Marvel being an arrogant person, thinking she's the most powerful thing to exist, is actually not an issue if the plot shows us, one, that she could be wrong, or two, the plot still challenges her in some way. Now, the plot can either reinforce her arrogance so far as she fights someone who she undercuts someone else who's really confident, you know what I mean? I guess in this case it could have been Thanos. Or at the very least, she gets undercut by someone else. Again, it could be, well, Thanos. So the problem I have with Captain Marvel's character is, again, because of how established she has a tone or an atmosphere about her that is very experienced. And this kind of makes sense so far as, like, I mean, I guess she was a part of the Kree Lantern Corps for about, 6 years. Maybe she's had some crazy missions, but we've never seen them. And this was a huge criticism of the prequels, of the Star Wars prequels, right? So many people over and over again complain over and over again, long before the Clone Wars came out, that Obi-Wan and Anakin would always talk about the things that they went through, but it was never actually shown. So if you're one of the people who wants to criticize the prequels because of that element, that Obi-Wan and Kenobi and Anakin are thick as thieves, yet we've never seen any of their adventures, prior to the Clone Wars shows, then you would also have to say, hey, it's really unreasonable for Captain Marvel to be so cocky or to have this air of arrogance about her when we as the audience have never seen or haven't seen any justification for it. Now, sure, in Captain Marvel movie, we'd see her, pretty much take on an entire Kree warship all by herself, or a battalion all by herself. And that kind of leads us, actually, even in Endgame, she goes toe-to-toe with Thanos, who has all 6 Infinity Stones. I'm going to break that down more specifically in a second. But this leads us to what I think is an even bigger problem with Captain Marvel. Because here's the thing. Like I said, her character is fine as it's expressed. As in, it's not wrong for Captain Marvel to be an arrogant person. It's wrong if the plot never challenges her. It's wrong if she never changes or there's nothing like forcing her to think critically about what is going on in her life. And I feel like Avengers Endgame, if the movie was more focused in on the original Avengers plus Captain Marvel, and she has to bounce off of them, and these guys have to pass the baton to her so she can become the leader, because Kevin Feige said he wanted Captain Marvel to be the next flagship character of the MCU. Okay, if that were the case, why not make this movie Endgame be the transitioning point for our heroes? I mean, their contracts are up, they're all leaving. Why not make it so that they actually spend time with Captain Marvel and pass the leadership down to her? If she, like, with her being more involved in the plot, you see what I'm saying? So I feel like that was a huge missed opportunity. But to specifically about this is what I think is the biggest issue with Captain Marvel, and that is the Mary Sue issue. Okay, fine. The Mary Sue problem. Okay, and the Mary Sue problem, as I've always usually defined it, is more of an issue, not so much of a flat or boring character, but a character that's never really challenged by the plot. The entire point of having stories with conflict is that there is conflict, and the stress and the stakes of the conflict occur due to uncertainty. So the point is, if the audience is aware that there's no threat to the heroes, then there's no tension, and it defeats the purpose of the story. The entire story is undercut and kind of a waste of time. Now, if you just like watching people be badass and just like blow things up, then you're probably gonna like love like Mission Impossible, Die Hard. I mean, there's definitely like a subsect of film for people who like that, who just want to watch things just get curb stomped. That's fair. If you like Sword Art Online because Kirito just destroyed everything that occurred to him, I mean, more power to you. But most people don't like watching shows where the hero literally just curb stomps every single issue. This is Captain Marvel to a T. She was never challenged. I mean, in her own movie, I mean, I guess you could say she was kind of philosophically challenged, insofar as she thought the Kree were the good guys, but really they were the bad guys, and she actually had to help the Skrulls. But I can't really even say she kind of, because it's not really like she it's not really like there's any philosophical argument. It was pretty cut and dry. She thought the Kree were good, they weren't. It wasn't that, wait, the Skrulls actually did a lot of damage to the Kree, and now that the Skrulls are weakened, there's no more reason to chase them down, but the Kree want revenge. That's philosophical. Now you have to think about it critically. Wait a minute, hold on. The Skrulls are really bad people, but now they're really weak. They can't really do anything except run. So is it right to hunt down these women and children and even these, war-torn men when they have nothing left? Like, if that was the point, if Captain Marvel had to think about this, like, right, her being super powerful isn't really like the emotional core of the movie, or isn't like the problem of the movie. And I know I'm splitting off and I'm talking about Captain Marvel and her movie, and I'm going to bring it back to Endgame. Just bear with me. We're going to get back to Endgame, but right now I have to explain again how from Captain Marvel to Endgame, this is the same character, same problem. It's just more supporting evidence, okay? But the point that I'm trying to explain is that, oh, by the way, spoilers for Captain Marvel if you haven't seen them. Anyhow, so if there was a philosophical debate or problem or an emotional problem, then Captain Marvel being super strong and super powerful isn't an issue. If she's just supposed to be that strong, if she's just supposed to be that powerful, then it becomes a question of how does she use this power for right or for wrong. This is what Superman stories usually are and what they should be. It's usually Superman being the best that he can be and like being like the beacon of hope that he is. It's not really so much, and sometimes Superman does fight guys that are just like presently stronger than he is. Like, yeah, you got Superman Prime and Superman if he like bakes in the sun. But like Superman does have limits. Like they're huge limits, but he does have limits, and sometimes he does fight people that are stronger than he is. That does happen from time to time, and so. But usually Superman stories are not really Superman has to punch this guy harder. It's that Superman has to prove that, he's a good person. He's using his power reasonably to help people more so than he's just the biggest, strongest guy. And if Captain Marvel is supposed to be that all-powerful creature that just isn't supposed to be challenged physically, then that means her challenges or the emotional weight of the film has to come philosophically or morally. It's about how she uses her power versus how does she overcome this issue that that she faces. And the truth of the matter is, you could never write a Captain Marvel at this point. It is nigh impossible to write a Captain Marvel story in the Marvel Cinematic Universe where she's challenged externally. That's done. That's game over. It can't happen. And now I'm start talking about Endgame, because not only does Captain Marvel come at the end of the climax, literally straight up caps Thanos' entire ship. That's just gone. She single-handedly destroys that thing. So an entire battle fleet, once again, is not a thing to her. But then she goes down and she fights Thanos one-on-one with all 6 Infinity Stones. She doesn't fight Thanos. She doesn't fight normal, regular Thanos. She's fighting the guy that has the Infinity Stones in his hand. There's a point in the movie where Thanos cannot even close his hand because Captain Marvel is holding it, and she's too strong for him to even close his fist. That's how powerful she is, right? There's a point where he like literally headbutts Captain Marvel, and she just keeps looking at him. He can't even hurt her. All the Infinity Stones in his hand, he can't even hurt her. So what he has to do is he has to take the Power Stone, and then he can knock her back. And after that, she's just kind of gone because then Tony Stark comes and, well, he's the emotional climax of the film. But the truth of the matter is, in that moment, we've seen that Captain Marvel, literally versus Thanos at his most powerful, is equal, if not stronger. I mean, she straight up stopped him from being it. He couldn't even hurt the woman with the Infinity Stones in his hand. Which honestly, now that I think about it, it's actually really a very, very confusing concept, at least to me, is the fact that Thanos had to remove the Power Stone in order to obtain its power when it's already in the gauntlet. I mean, then what the fuck is the point of the gauntlet if it doesn't allow you to use the powers of the stone? I don't know. That's kind of weird to me. I don't know. That's odd to me, but whatever. The fact that he had to use an Infinity Stone to challenge Captain Marvel means what? It means she is more powerful than the main threat of the entire series of movies we've seen. After Thanos is gone, who's left to challenge her? Like, how do you write a compelling Captain Marvel story when literally the strongest creature we've ever seen the Avengers fight can't even hurt her. Legit. And the only way he could hurt her is with the Power Stone that, guess what, doesn't exist anymore. So this is the strongest villain, the most threatening villain we've ever seen, and he can't hurt her. You see the issue here. The issue is, and here's the thing, like with video games, I don't know if this concept translates completely, but I'm going to use it for lack of a better word. There's a concept called power creep. And basically what power creep is whenever a new ability or weapon or strategy or meta is introduced into a game, and it's better, just functionally, like statistically, by its stats or whatever its effect is better than everything else prior to, that something else has to come in order to counter it, and it might be better. So basically, the power creep of what it means is when you raise the bar of something, you got to keep raising the bar of something else, and you got to keep going on and on and on until you just have a bunch of broken pieces of crap. And that's the issue with Captain Marvel. She's pretty much power creeped the entire MCU. She's vastly more powerful than any hero that we've seen, and she's more powerful than the strongest villain that our heroes have ever come across. Which means you can't write any story with Captain Marvel in it where she's being challenged externally. At least you create a villain that is just nigh impossible for anyone else to deal with but her. And maybe you could, I don't know, maybe, I don't think Adam Warlock could do it. Yeah, Adam Warlock, not if she could go toe to toe with Thanos. No, Adam Warlock. I don't know, I don't know what character you could bust out now in the MCU that would make a reasonable fight against Captain Marvel. Which basically means whenever Captain Marvel's on screen, that's it. Game over. We win. Okay, see you later. Goodbye. And I feel like that's a huge issue with the character because she can't be compelling anymore. You can't watch her succeed anymore because you already know she's gonna come. She literally is Super Mario with the star power. She's literally invulnerable. You literally can't even hurt the woman. So who's gonna fight her in the Captain Marvel sequel? Who can challenge her? So unless you start, and the issue I really have here is this: if you really want to make Captain Marvel basically God, basically female God, basically ascends from the heavens, literally crashes down and just smites everything. If you want to make her that way, then that means you have to write her as a compelling character in person. And we didn't get to see that in Endgame because she's only in the movie for all maybe 6 minutes. You can't. You're gonna have to, or the writers are gonna have to try to make her either wrestle with the fact that she's this stupidly powerful creature, and that could be an interesting story, or they have to create villains who are just so stupidly powerful that they break the fabric of reality itself. You know what I mean? And I don't really know. And at that point, the issue really becomes, at that point, if you keep introducing villains that strong against Captain Marvel just so she gets challenged, just so her stories are compelling, literally everyone else becomes irrelevant. This is the Dragon Ball Z problem as well. I think power creep is probably power creep the anime is Dragon Ball Z. Literally from Frieza to the androids to Majin Buu to anything in Dragon Ball Super. Basically, the amount of effective people in that show all get zoned into Gohan, Goten, Vegeta, Trunks, obviously Goku. That's it. Up to the Buu Saga, and then you get Majin Buu. And then after that, you get Beerus. He power creeps them. They get Super Saiyan God. And then the only people who become relevant are just Goku and Vegeta, and then Trunks and the Goku Black Arc, and even then that was kind of bad writing. The point is, at the end of the day, Dragon Ball Z is one of the best examples of power creep and how you just funnel in. The more you keep making stronger guys come, and you don't raise the bar of all your other heroes or the power of all your other heroes, then only a few of them become relevant. And I mean, Dragon Ball Z for some people has become kind of boring. But for other people, I mean, if they like the Goku Vegeta show, they like the Goku Vegeta show. But it does make all the other characters are kind of useless beyond, repair at this point, honestly. When you've got God Key that normal humans can't even sense, you can't, there's really nothing. You can't make Krillin relevant anymore. As much as you could try, but you're really grasping at straws. The Tournament of Power, you may as well, the Tournament of Grasping at Straws is what that shit should have been. And then with Jiren, okay, I could go in and start talking about Dragon Ball Z, but let's go back. I'm on a tangent. I'm just saying Dragon Ball Z is a good example of power creep, and that is the route that would go on with Captain Marvel as what I see for the foreseeable future. Captain Marvel, in conclusion, is a character that cannot be challenged externally. Any villain or any problem that occurs to her, she's going to solve. She's just going to curb stomp. Unless she faces a guy off against like the very like forces of nature itself, she's never going to have an issue. You have to make Captain Marvel a compelling human character wrestling with her power, I feel, in order to make her interesting. You have to make it so that Captain Marvel interacts with people who are her equals, so her arrogance either gets undercut or gets reinforced. Either we as an audience see and understand why she's so... I mean, we did get to see her blow up entire ships, but she still didn't grow to be that person. Like Captain Marvel didn't grow to become arrogant, you know, after being like, you know, like sniveling, or after being like weak. She didn't become that. She always was. Even when she had the chip in her movie, she was always cocky. She was always arrogant. There was never a point where she even like felt weak or felt unsure of herself. She was always like that. And we as an audience should have seen her become that person. At the very least, it would have, her attitude would have more weight to us as moviegoers, or, you know, as an audience, if we got to like grow with her and see her become a better person. It's like Peter Parker, right, in Spider-Man. Now, I don't really think this is a very good Spider-Man story. I don't really think Homecoming did a very good job showing us the Spider-Man story. But for the story we got, did a very good job. If Peter comes out more confident and sure of himself, due to the tribulations of Endgame, Infinity War, and Homecoming, and Spider-Man Far From Home, we as an audience will have a better connection with him because we've seen him grow, and we've seen him become weak, and we've seen him become better. It's going to weigh heavier on us emotionally. It's going to feel much more cathartic for us emotionally if we see Spider-Man being much more competent in this next movie that's coming out, because we saw what he looked like when he was incompetent. You see what I'm saying? My point is, you should have made it so that Captain Marvel had to grow into this leader, or at the very least, her movie should have shown her becoming a leader. And I honestly think that Endgame should have had Captain Marvel talking to the previous Avengers, relating to them, having experiences with them, so like there's some emotional weight for her, and then them passing the baton to Captain Marvel and saying, all right, we did our job. It's up to you now. You gotta actually stay on Earth and protect us. And think about that. Think about the how humbling that would be. This is a thought that just occurred to me as I'm making this video. Captain Marvel is so arrogant that she thinks, I gotta go and save the whole universe from everything. And it's like, okay, Earth's mightiest heroes are all gone now. Thor is gone, everyone's gone. Like Danvers. Like you gotta keep the Earth safe from anything else that's coming. So now she's gotta take this position that she gave herself as like Guardian of the Galaxy. Isn't that like its own movie franchise? I'm kidding. No, but seriously. Like you gotta take Captain Marvel, who's like, you know, the Gold Lantern of the galaxy, and then lower her down to, you're the friendly neighborhood Earth girl. You gotta protect Earth. That could be an interesting story. Like that could be pretty humbling, that she's gotta be like, okay, I'm gonna stay on Earth and I'm actually gonna protect Earth. Again, like I don't know how you could create a compelling villain, but I don't know, whatever. So that's my longest held video on the Captain Marvel problem. This is why Captain Marvel is a huge writing issue in the future. I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and tune in for the next one. So the next one, we're gonna have to talk about Thanos, and I'm gonna hurt some feelings with that one. Oh, if I didn't hurt feelings in this video, I'm about to hurt a lot of feelings in that next video on Thanos. So that being said, I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, man, go ahead and click the like button. If you go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comments below. As always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.